Hi, welcome back to Marisa Explains It All, and today I'm going to be talking about the Naked Smoky palette, the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette. And I decided to, instead of doing a review or a look, I decided to compare it to the Urban Decay Smoked palette. Now, the Urban Decay Smoked palette came out several years ago, maybe in 2013, I want to say, and it looks like this with a zipper around pouch, and then you open it up and it has all of these dark colors in it with a highlight color and a transition color, and then a blue, a green, a purple. These two and those two are matte, and the others are all shimmers. Comparing it to the new Urban Decay Naked Smoked palette, it comes in more of the naked style packaging, the shape and everything, except it's a bit different than the other Naked palettes in that it's a hard plastic and it has a smoked kind of look on it, and it's really cool because it's see-through on the back. So it's pretty unique and different from the other Naked palettes in that way. And when you open it up, it has, again, dark smoky shades with the highlight, a shimmer highlight, a matte highlight, a transition, a matte transition color, and then these smoky shades here. And these four here are the matte shades, these are satin shades, and then these ones are shimmer shades. So what I did is I went ahead and I looked at the two palettes side by side, and I looked for colors that I thought were similar and then swatched them next to each other to see how similar they really were. Because when I first saw the Naked Smoked palette, the Naked Smoky palette, my mind automatically thought, well, what about the Smoked palette? Isn't that one a smoky palette? I am wearing the Naked Smoky palette on my eyes right now, and so I was able to create this look with these gray shades here, and I have two of the gray shades on my lid, but I did a halo effect where it's dark, you know, one shade on the inner and outer corner and then a different shade on the middle, and you can't really tell. I used this shade here, slanted and then dagger on my lid, but they look very similar. It doesn't necessarily, you can't really see the gradient there. So it seems that a lot of the shades some of the shades in the Naked Smoky palette are very similar to one another, whereas in the Smoked palette they have these colors, these brighter colors here, so you can create a smoky eye in any of these shades. So that's one of the main differences that you can see by looking at the two. So I went ahead and swatched them on the back of my arm here so you could see the comparison colors. On this side, they're all the new ones, and on the left side, it's the Smoked palette. So the first two shades that I'm comparing, this one here is from the Naked Smoky palette, and this is the shade Armor. And this shade is from the Smoked palette, and this is Mushroom. So you can see they're slightly different. I don't think there are any two shades in here that are identical. All of the shade names are different. They're all, you know, there are no repeats in it, but they're very similar. So I wanted to swatch them next to each other just to see how similar. Moving on to the more neutral tones in each palette. This is the shade Combust from the new Smoky palette, and this is the shade Freestyle from the previous Smoked palette. And you can see Combust is a little cooler toned, whereas Freestyle is a little warmer, more peachy toned. And then moving on to the two highlight shades, this is the shade 13 from the new palette, and this is the shade Kinky from the original Smoked palette. This is Dagger from the new palette, and this one is Asphalt from the original Smoked palette. And then moving on to the two black shades. This one is from the new palette called Black Market, and this is from the original Smoked palette called Blackout. And you can see Black Market is a lot more gray and not so pigmented as Blackout. And then moving on to these brown shades, these two here, this is from the new palette, and this is the shade Whiskey, and this is the shade Backdoor. So in the palette, Backdoor looks much more brown. Here it's more of a dark chocolate gray tone brown, and then whiskey is just more of a traditional dark brown. And then the purples in the palettes are really different. So this one is from the new release Smoky palette called Smolder, and then here is the purple called Rockstar from the original Smoked palette. So you can see Rockstar is a lot more purple. Smolder is more blackened purple, not so bright. And then here are the last two that I thought looked very similar to each other. This one is called Radar from the new Smoky palette, and this one is Bar Lust from the original Smoked palette. So Radar is lighter and more warm, and then Bar Lust is a little bit darker. So I compared, you know, you can see none of the shades are identical, none of them are exactly the same. However, I think they're very similar. You could probably achieve most of the looks as you can with the Naked Smoky palette. Go ahead and swatch them all for you. So let me just start here at with the first four here. So these four here, there they are. And then I'm gonna go ahead and swatch them. Swatch them for you there. There's this nice champagne-y nude-ish kind of color there that there's nothing similar to it in the original Smoked palette. And then these really pretty. This shade is really pretty. I really like it. This Armor shade, which is here compared to the shade, the Mushroom shade in the Smoked palette. So there they are. So you could see how these two, these are the ones that I'm wearing on my eyes right now, and they're very similar. So when you put them right next to each other, the color differentiation isn't really that different. They just look very similar. So, and then let me go ahead and do these last shades. I'm gonna go ahead and do them on my other arm because I'm running out of swatch room. So these last four are all of the matte shades. So there are the last four matte shades in the Naked Smoky palette. So there are all of the shades. You can see there's just a lot of grays. The purple in the palette isn't really that purple. It's more of a gray, blackened purple. I feel like the shades are all very similar, and if you have the Smoked palette, you don't necessarily need the Naked Smoky palette. However, the shades feel really nice. I mean, they applied nicely as I expected. You know, I don't really have any problems with shades sticking or blending or anything like that, typically because I use an eyeshadow primer and I don't have over oily or dry lids either way, so I don't really have a problem. The mattes, I used the matte shade here, 13, under my brow, and then this one in the crease, and just, you know, blended to help blend out some of the gray shades on my lid. And then I used the smudger brush because it does come with this little pencil smudger brush, and then on the other side it has like a bigger kind of dense blendy brush. So I did use this brush and it's pretty good. I really like this smudger. I smudged some of the black liner on my upper lash line and then on my lower lash line, and I really liked that. So that's my comparison of the Smoked palette versus the Smoky palette. If you have the Smoked palette, I don't think you can get it anymore. I'm not sure. I know it went on clearance a while back, and typically when they put something on clearance, it means they're not going to be carrying it any longer. But if you have this palette and you're thinking, do I really need another smoky eye palette? Probably not. You probably could skip the Naked Smoky palette, or if you have a lot of gray tones or smoky type colors, I don't know that any of these are really that unique that they're gonna blow you out of the water and you just have to have it just to have one of those shades. I mean, they are beautiful colors. I personally love smoky eyes. I know it's not an everyday kind of look, although to be honest, if I could do it every single day, I probably would, and I like doing smoky eye with all different colors. That's why I really like the Smoked palette, because it has those three colors, the blue, the green, the purple. But if you have a lot of similar shades, you could probably skip the Naked Smoky And, you know, like I mentioned, a lot of these shades kind of blend together and are very similar to one another. So they're not necessarily even that different from each other. So there's my comparison and discussion of the Naked Smoky palette in comparison to the Smoked palette. So if you like my video, go ahead and like and subscribe, and you'll see more from me later. Okay, thanks. Bye.